such a what's the word I'm looking for? It's we're looking at a civilization that wants to argue more than we can agree upon. And I agree that everybody has their own opinion, but and I don't want to get into politically stuff because I
Right.
try and stay out of that as much as I can. But eh, there is no cohesiveness in the people in this country or even in the world uh, that wants to make things better. You look at you know Russia invading Ukraine, the differences of the people and the cultures in the United States. Uh, I, I I don't know. It's hard to really get behind something when you know that, excuse me, you're going to have a whole lot of people that are going to be complaining that they're not. It's not the way they want it to be. We need to work together. There's no doubt about that in my mind that things have changed a lot since I was 25, 30 years old,
Yes.
and change is going to happen. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But maybe it's the people in our Congress and the Senate, the infighting they have. To me, it's just ridiculous. We're here as a country and want to make things better, but we're kind of fighting each other to try
Yes.
and do that.
Uh, I thank you so very, very much for saying that. And as a matter of fact, our and we say organization because we like to remain active, but our organization has the audacity to suggest that we can actually bring opposing factions together based upon our mutual respect for those who serve and have served, and based upon our responsibility to protect our children because we are asking them to protect our future. And so it is that when we approach parents, and even the young people themselves, we would suggest that we are not a recruitment program necessarily, but we certainly applaud those who have chosen to go into the field of service. Do we find a trend in an upward way that there are more people who are interested in serving? And by the way, when we use the word service, it does not necessarily have to connote military service. There are many ways that young people and even older can serve. But is there a trend more towards our young people wanting to do what that high school senior you described did? Or do we need a messaging campaign that will help them increase their respect for serving?
Well, speaking from knowledge that I have at this point in time,
Yes, sir.
uh, all the recruiting for the armed forces, recruiting is way down. Uh,
Okay.
young people do not want to join. Uh, I don't know why that is. The pay, when I started out in '65, I made $98 a month. And you wonder how in the world you to do it, but
I
you
want you to tell Chris Jones that.
yeah, boy, isn't that the truth. But nowadays, I think, and granted, it's not a big sum, but I think just starting out in the service now, you make about $1,200 a month. Uh,
Yes.
you're
And
also you're also getting, your meals, your berthing, room and board is paid for. You don't have to worry about that. And granted, as high as, the higher you go as far as promotions, the more money you make. But I don't understand why uh, children, young adults do not want to go into this service. And like you say, there are other ways of serving.
Yes.
And,
Well, one
fire
of the,
department,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
fire department, police department, working in the city, a job for the city, that's still service. And, that's something to be proud of. But I don't understand why right now it seems like everybody has this give it to me attitude. It's about me.
Well, one of the things that occurs to me as it relates to young people is that veterans who are younger seemingly tend not to represent the majority of veterans organizations. And I am sometimes surprised. We have a regular visitor to our program whose name is Rebecca Bradley, and Rebecca has been responsible for services for veterans. And there is that opportunity for medical. There is that opportunity for the right to be educated. There are programs. As a matter of fact, we had visitors at the VFW headquarters earlier today for breakfast. As it pertains to living quarters and being looked after, and I wonder if the messaging for those who leave the service is adequate not only to them but to their families that they might not take full advantage of.
Well, the veterans, one of the big problems I think is homeless veterans. And I'm not sure why that is the way it is. Out at the post in Grandview this morning, we had the uh, veterans. I don't know what the actual title is, but the small homes like they have at the village there at 89th and Troost.
Yes.
We actually had one of their little buildings out at the post, and it's amazing what they have done with such a small building that a person can get in there and actually live. They've got a microwave, they got a bed, they got a place to take a shower. Uh, they don't have to be on the street. And I don't know why there are so many, and it's just not in Kansas City, it's all over, that they don't want to be, uh, you know, housed or taken care of. I know that I was talking to one of the gentlemen out here this morning, and you go up and hand a homeless person new clothes or a pair of shoes or blankets or whatever. Apparently, a lot of them will just go out and sell that and use the money for alcohol or drugs or what have you. And that's sickness. I understand, but a lot of them don't even want to be bothered with being treated for it and helping them get better.
Well, hopefully we will be able to message better and more. Charles Ferris, do you mind staying with us through a break and coming back to the conversation? Is that okay?
Sure, that's fine.
Outstanding. I want first Louis George Walker to talk to those who are with us about how to access KUAW.org, meaning our program, but as well as many programs followed by our producer, engineer, and co-host DeQuay Wilson. So first, if Brother Walker, if you would, and then turn it over to Sister DeQuay.
Why, sure, and thank you, Carl. You're listening to Wave Your Grades with Mr. Carl Boyd, And this is a product of KUAW Radio. You can pick up KUAW Radio on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, and Twitter when we do live broadcasts. And we also broadcast audio 24 hours a day at Get Me Radio, my online radio box, on the TuneIn app, on Roku, and on Apple TV. So there's a lot of ways that you can listen to KUAW Radio. You can just go into Google and search KUAW Radio. If you have a smart speaker to remember, you can tell your Amazon or Google speaker to play KUAW and it will play it. So thank you for listening and continue listening to Wave Your Grades and all the other fine shows on KUAW Radio.
And Sister DeQuay Wilson.
Good afternoon to our 7th and 8th grade students. You can, or parents of 7th and 8th grade students. The students can win a monetary award from our sponsoring organization. Yes, we do say organization, on purpose, with purpose, Stutes for Boots. Your essay title will be Heroes You Know You Didn't Know Were Heroes. Your content will identify a veteran at your school. Again, that veteran can be absolutely anyone, a teacher, custodian, cafeteria worker, bus driver, administrator, absolutely anyone. If your essay is chosen and submitted by an adult who gives you permission to read it on this Waive Your Grades program, you will be awarded a monetary prize. For inquiry or entry, please email stootsforboots@gmail.com. That is STOOTSFORBOOTS @gmail.com. Stootsforboots@gmail.com. Now back to Carl.
Thank you so very, very much, DeQuay Wilson and Lewis George Walker. This is Wave Your Grades. We use that title, Brother Charles Paris, because we ask that the young people, when honoring those who serve and those who have served, don't just wave the flag when they come home at the airport or at the depot. But wave your grades, wave your achievements, wave your leadership, wave your community service, wave those things that would make those who have served proud. And I am perhaps imposing upon Charles Ferris a bit when I ask this. There was no preparation for it, but I make an assumption. I am a civilian. And when I say to young people that we want you to achieve in honor of those who served because you make them proud or at least pleased, I am making the assumption that that is true. But for those who have served, for those like yourself who see young people doing more than just saying thank you, but showing thank you, truthfully, does it does it matter to veterans like yourself?
Oh, sure it does. You know, Cheryl and I, we got an excellent education. Uh, it seems like some of the students nowadays don't want an education. Granted, there are single parent families, which doesn't help. Uh, but we see these students out here in South Kansas City that really put themselves out, and they're coming in with excellent grades, excellent GPAs, uh, and they have high hopes and expectations of what they want to do. Uh, it tickles me to death because, not only out here in the south end of Kansas City, but all over, a lot of the people think that the students are worthless. There's so much bad press nowadays about young students, but it does make me proud, and Cheryl as well, that these students are working. They have desires. They have hopes, and a lot of them are first-time college students, and that impresses me unbelievably so.
Well, let me. Oh, by the way, DeQuay Wilson, if you have a question and or comment, please come right in. I'm saying co-host, and I'm doing all the talking. Do you have a question and/or comment for Mr. Charles Ferris?
No, as usual, not at this time.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I don't overlook that opportunity.
Absolutely.
One of the things that occurs to me is I put you, I'm talking now to Charles Ferris on the spot when I say, how do you feel about it? And the expectation is that you say, it does indeed make you feel good, but I would really like for young people to understand the importance of this. This is real. This is important. These are people who have gone into theaters of war. I'll mention that later in my commentary tonight. But I often say no one should be deployed in a theater of war and come home to a neighborhood that's more dangerous than where they served when they were deployed. And as far as that is concerned, how can we work together to reduce the incidence of, for instance, violence in our communities? What can we do together? And again, I'm a civilian. You are a distinguished veteran, and we find enough in common to want to attack these social ills. How can we work better together? And again, I am talking to passmaster.617 at gmail.com.
Well,
You're already doing so much and have mentioned so much that you are doing. And there are a few people whom we know, but overall, as it relates to the landscape, prayerfully apolitical rather than the political messes we find ourselves in. But let us help us grow together and come together in unity.
people need to talk. That's one of the biggest things. Uh, and I'm not talking strictly specific races. Here in Kansas City, we know that, our homicide rate is just unbelievably high.
Yes.
And a lot of it is young people. I really truly feel that there are things that happen that people know who or what was involved in making it happen, but they're not talking. Uh, you know, it bothers me that, people do not want to feel like they're stoolies by telling somebody, oh yeah, he did it, or what have you. Communication is a great thing, but you have to have it. That's the biggest problem I think is here. And I'm not a big gun excuse me, I'm not a big gun advocate. I have my weapons, but easy access uh, to weapons is something that, in my mind, needs to be really looked at and make changes.
Let me say to you that I think that I will attempt to use whatever technological expertise I have to excerpt your remarks and take them with me Monday morning. I happen to be on the board of directors for Crime Stoppers USA, Kansas City. And in Crime Stoppers USA, we try to make a case for cooperation to the extent that we offer rewards as much as $25,000. I can say and have said as a spokesman for Crime Stoppers that I have been on payout, never knowing who receives that payout. I don't know a model of car, a license. I don't know the gender of the person, the race, the geography. All I know is that when it was done, I was told, okay, they have received their payment, and that was that. But the reason that I said I wanted to excerpt this and play it back for those who will be in our Crime Stoppers board meeting is because we need more people who will speak up, speak out, and ask for the cooperation that you did. I did not chuckle, but you reminded me of my age when you said Stooley. I wrote a rap. I called it geriatric rap, as a matter of fact, called I Am Not a Snitch, I Am a Witness. And it is important to us that people understand the need for the victims and those related to victims to have some degree of what we refer to as closure.
Yes.
But I don't know that I could ever adequately explain for them what it means to have to grapple with this degree of violence that we have suffered over a decade, a couple of decades or so. So here again, as I try to make the case for those who have served and who are serving, not only do you, Charles Ferris, ask that young people achieve academically and socially, but you ask adults to lead a nonviolent movement in Greater Kansas City. That to me, that to us, is extremely important and most extremely appreciated, I promise you. And given this opportunity is certainly an opportunity for us to speak to those who might be interested. If you had a particular message that you wanted to make sure we did not leave without your sharing, what is something that is of particular importance to you that our audience needs to hear, needs to know?
I think the most important thing is knowledge.
Mm,
To succeed in this world, uh, you have to have a good knowledge of what this world is about. Uh, education, as my grandmother used to tell me, is not heavy. Once you pick something up, it doesn't go away. It's always with you. And you have to have a desire to know, to learn. You want to have a desire to succeed. And the best way to get to the succession that you want is to have the knowledge. Be a hard worker. Be determined to get what you want. Legally, of course.
yes.
And you know, like I said, I got an excellent education. I was not a great student. I will admit that to anybody that asks me. Uh, I was kind of mediocre and in the middle of the class. Uh, I hated math. Uh, but when I got into the Navy and started working in electronics, uh, it is math based. And I have gone through everything all the way up through calculus, and it amazes me that I picked it up. Uh, you have to be determined that you're going to succeed. And I was fortunate enough uh, in my career of 28 years
Wow.
that I worked on radars, weapon systems on A7s, F4s, F-14 aircraft,
Yes.
and was fortunate enough to work for people that help promote me. And I also claim the fact that I have people working for me that if it wasn't for them, I would not have gotten to where I ended up. Uh, you know, be appreciative of those that are around you and are working with you and who you're working for, and be open. you're not going to be right all the time. And I'm here to tell you that I will admit that as well.
We can share that without a doubt. You mentioned 28 years. Did you have opportunities to serve outside of the continental United States?
Yeah, I was in Vietnam in 1968. We made a Westpac over there. Like I said, uh, worked as a plane guard for the USS America.
Wow.
And when we weren't doing that, we actually had a helicopter on our fantail that our other mission was to re to pick up down pilots if at all possible, and we did pick up 9 while we were over there. So it never did go anyplace else. I was on board the USS Lincoln when they attacked Baghdad, and really thought that I was going to be heading over there, but the Lincoln had just gotten back from a Westpac and still had some time where she wouldn't have to go anyplace. And of course, that was a very quick conflict. Uh, General Schwarzkopf did a great job over there and shutting that place down in a heartbeat. So I never did end up in any other war zones.
One of the things that our young people can benefit from is, as you say, knowledge, and that knowledge, as it relates to how we are regarded outside of the United States. And now you will see, let us say that we are looking at a television game show, and the prize comes up, and it says, you and 3 of your friends have won a trip to Vietnam. And when we look at, I was there in 1971, but I was only there for 2.5 weeks because we were doing USO shows. We were singing for the troops. I am a civilian. But when you look at 1972, 1973, up to 1976, and now look back, how do the Vietnamese regard America? And it appears that the reception is positive when we go in that direction. Is that a fair assessment?
Honestly, I can't answer that. I know that Vietnam is now a communist country. Um, there
It,
are those that probably are, wish, there are those that were there then that were happy that we were there trying to protect them and keep the communists out of that country. But, nowadays, I don't know. I know that there are people that still go back over there.
yes.
And being, I was not in country. I was close enough to the beach that I could have probably walked to it, but um, it's just I was 18, 19 years old when I was over there,
Absolutely.
and it's not the most popular place I'd want to visit again. But
Well,
it is what it is, and there are those that have gone back, and you know, I don't know. I think it's up to every individual as to what they want to do.
well, I'll
I
tell
know
you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I know I have a friend of mine that's in the Navy League that one of his buddies went back to Iwo Jima, and that would be really tough for me, knowing what
Yes.
happened over there.
Yes.
But I guess every year they are allowed one day when they can go back over there, and more power to them. Um,
Well, I think that you and I have already agreed on the fact that we certainly have plenty to do at home.
yes,
And your remark about knowledge, that is so critical. And as we are even in the throes of an era, and I think I might want to spell it ERROR, where there's even controversy on those things that are important for us to learn. It is an old cliche, of course. Knowledge is power. But I think that you and I agree upon that. And I cannot express enough appreciation for your agreeing to share your thoughts and contacts and the opportunity for young people to become active at whatever level, because we need as much positive as we can get and as much appreciation for peace and knowledge and growth and progress, and that's what Charles Ferris represents. So allow me to say thank you profusely for your appearing with us today.
Well, Carl, thank you very much. You know, I don't speak out a whole lot about a whole lot of things. I try and stay pretty private to myself. And, you know, if I was to say one other thing, if I could,
Please.
young people need to be involved.
Ooh,
You want change. All right. Get out there and help make change
thank you.
without violence and, you know, reach across the table to a person that you may not even know and make things happen. You
Yes,
know, that's if I was to tell anybody anything, I would say be involved in a positive way, and you know, speak up if you don't like it, uh, but have a solution.
absolutely. That is so important. I appreciate that so very, very much. And by the way, do not be surprised when I send someone your way, particularly young people who want to be oriented towards a career and gaining, in fact, some of that knowledge as it relates to our relationships. Thank you so very, very much. Please keep up with us. We will try to keep up with you. Do you do college lectures, by the way? I thought about that when you were talking.
No, I have gone to Missouri University in Columbia.
Yeah.
They have a Navy ROTC unit down there. And as a senior member of the enlisted side of the house, I was at the top of the enlisted ranks. Uh, I was asked to come down and talk to the cadets down there, actually midshipmen,
Yes.
about how to communicate, how junior officers and senior enlisted communicate. Uh, had a real good time. I have a good relationship with the captain down there. And I also, the Navy League does sponsor the um, ROTC unit over at KU. Their captain just retired and has been relieved by another captain, and we do provide scholarship money and also a sword for their top midshipman who's ready to graduate.
Now you're
So
talking.
I do have communications with colleges as well, and you know, I've talked to the recruiters out here, and you know, I've always told them, if you have anybody that wants information, I'm available, and it doesn't cost you a thing. So
Fantastic. You just answered my next question, because that is so good. When I see Navy League, those who are interested qualify how? Do they have to be Navy
no,
veterans or?
no, no, it's a civilian organization.
There you go.
Uh, Granted, I have some members that are graduates from Annapolis. I also have an Air Force colonel and Marines, of course. But you know, we're all services. If anybody wants to come in, whether they be Air Force, Army, or whatever, they are quite welcome. You can go online to Navy League of the United States.org and look and see what they have. You can join online for $25, and that's for 1 year. And you get all the information via computer. But you know, we have a good time. The USS Kansas City, which was commissioned 3 years ago, every year they come. Part of their crew comes to town, and they'll be here in October for a 4-day visit. So I'll touch base with you, Carl,
Please do.
and let you know what we're going to be doing and when. And
Yes.
you're more than welcome to come out and see the crew, meet them, and find out, what they do.
Outstanding. And in that time that they will be present, will there be some activities that are open to the public?
Well, basically, last year when they came in October, we had breakfast down at the Union Station.
Yes.
They went over to, I can't remember the name of the place, but whoever does all the diapers, the free diapers.
Yes.
Uh, they also visited with, there is a Navy JROTC unit at Shawnee Mission North. They went and visited them. Uh, we had a real nice dinner at Jack Stack, of course. Best barbecue in town, as far as I'm concerned, but that's just my opinion. And they also went out and visited the veterans at John Knox Village. But they're active, and next Friday, as a matter of fact, I will be on a conference call with their executive officer, our liaison with the unit, who is a retired Navy captain here in Kansas City, and start laying out things that we want. We're going to ask them what they
Wow.
want to do.
Thank you again so very, very much. And we will be announcing, even when you are not present, we can announce the activities you mentioned. Thank you so, so much, Charles Ferris, President, Navy League, Greater Kansas City. God bless you.
Thank you, Carl.
Here is DeQuay Wilson.
I would like to thank you all for joining us on
Yes.
your Stoots for Boots Wave Your Grades program. We come to you live every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. Central Standard Time from the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center right here in Kansas City, Missouri. I am your announcer, DeQuay Wilson. Now, our host, Carl Boyd, will close with Carl's commentary on academic patriotism and his daily message for students in honor of our veterans from his book, Morning Messages.
Thank you so very much. Carl's commentary on academic patriotism, Saturday, September 9th, 2023. Today's commentary is a reminder of what Stoots for Boots stands for and why we are referred to as an organization. The term Stoots is spelled using all uppercase letters because it is an acronym. STOOTS stands for Students Theater of Operations of the school. Consider the word theater. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary cites the following definitions for the terms theater of war and theater of operations. Theater of war: the entire land, sea, and air area that is or may become involved directly in war operations. Theater of operations: the part of a theater of war in which active combat operations are conducted. We at Stoots for Boots refer to the school as Students' Theaters of Operations because we want students to see their studies as being as important as warriors see combat. But we seek to bring about a time when our children can, quote, study war no more, unquote, and see their intelligent minds as weapons of peace. When we call ourselves an organization, we are letting it be known that we shall not stop advocating in behalf of educators and those they educate for as long as we are together with activities, with action, that encourage American students to strive for excellence and honor of those who serve and have served. To students across the USA, your Stoots for Boots message for this day, September 9th. Imagine every morning that it's Take a Warrior to School Day. If they could see how hard you try, you'd make them feel quite good. Now imagine attending a Take a Student to War Day. I'm sure that you would study even harder than you should. My name is Carl Boyd. Wave your grades. Thank you, Charles Ferris, DeQuay Wilson, Louis George Walker. Gracious God and wonderful Wanda, I'm on my way home.